Yo, what's going on, everybody? This is Andre Arroyo. It's my channel, What's on Dre's Mind. And what's on my mind right now is a very big, important pay-per-view. The 11th annual WWF Survivor Series 1997, held in Montreal, Quebec, Canada at the Molson Center, now known as the Bell Center. The event's tagline was Gang Rules. That means there were many stables around this time, and the tagline Gang Rules was, I figured, hey, why not? You got a bunch of stables here that represents sort of gangs, so it made sense. 7 matches were on the card. There were 2 title matches on the card as well, including the main event that we all know is the Montreal Screwjob, and I'll talk about that a whole lot later. The undercard had, traditional Survivor Series matches. You had a singles match. You had a Intercontinental title match between Stone Cold Steve Austin and Owen Hart. 20,593 fans attended the Molson Center. The pay-per-view's buy rate was 250,000, which was a big improvement from last year's Survivor Series, which was 199,000. The commentators for the show was good old JR Jim Ross, Jared the King Lawler. Spanish commentators were Carlos Cabrera, Tito Santana, and you got your French commentators, because you're in Montreal, Raymond Rougeau, Jean Brassard, and Jacques Rougeau Sr. Also, a couple of noticeable things about this show is normally the ring announcer is Howard Finkel, but he does not do the show this night. It's actually a French announcer named Albert de Frugia, because since they're in Montreal, Canada, so I thought that was a nice little touch. This is also the first time that Vince McMahon is not a color commentator. In fact, this was the night that he stopped doing color commentary, and he started doing more of a backstage producer role before he started becoming more active in his show. So the main show of this Survivor Series is, of course, the main event, Shawn Michaels against Bret Hart. This all started at WrestleMania 12. Bret Hart lost the WWF title to Shawn Michaels in one of the best matches of WrestleMania history, the Iron Man match. Hart took 6 months off because he needed to recover from nagging injuries, and he wanted to film a TV show that unfortunately was canceled. Michaels, however, had a difficult title reign due to the business being really bad during '96. Hart came back. Actually, what happened was his contract had come up, and he wanted to negotiate a new deal. He did not want to go anywhere else. And Vince McMahon felt, hey, I'll do what I can to get you. Business is bad. I'll do what I can and just see what I can come up with. Vince McMahon offered Bret Hart a 20-year deal, where Bret Hart would get $1 million a year. Bret Hart signed it, and everything seems all well. However, things are not all well, because Bret Hart was supposed to have a rematch of WrestleMania 13 against Shawn Michaels for the WWE title. All of a sudden, Shawn Michaels has this career-ending knee injury, and that he lost his smile. So he forfeited the title. But the truth was, Michaels just didn't respect Bret. He didn't like Bret. He just didn't want to return the favor, and he just kind of weaseled his way out of this, and Bret took that personally. And Bret is on his way out the door. It turns out that a few months into the 20-year contract, Vince said that he could not honor the deal. That it's already been 2 years, about maybe a year and a half into the 20-year contract, and Vince realized, you know what, Bret, I made a bad deal. I can't honor this contract. So it'd be best for you to see if you can look for other options. Well, those other options, before Bret signed a 20-year contract, Eric Bischoff met with Bret Hart in Los Angeles, and he wanted to give Bret Hart a 3-year, $3.7 million deal to work with WCW. Bret thought about it, but then he decided to go with WWF and a 20-year deal. Now, with the 20-year deal off the table, Bret is like, you know what? I might as well take the WCW deal. So Bret's on his way out of the WWF. So he's gone. After this night, he's gone. But however, there's a little problem. Shawn Michaels is not willing to give up, is not willing to do business with Bret. Bret said, you know what, I'm willing to put you over. And Shawn's like, well, I'm glad you feel that way, but I'm not willing to put you over. And that was the last straw. Bret had enough. Bret had enough of Shawn Michaels' BS. He's like, you know what, I don't want to work with this guy. I'm not dropping the title to Shawn Michaels, especially in my home country. I'm not doing it. So what to do? But right now, let's get to the first match. We have our first Survivor Series Elimination Tag match. The Headbangers, Mosh and Thrasher, and the New Blackjacks, Bradshaw and Barry Windham, face the Godwins, Henry and Phineas, and the Road Dogg and Badass Billy Gunn. This is when the Road Dogg and Badass are not officially called the New Age Outlaws yet, but they will be called that in a couple weeks. And this match was really a showcase for Road Dogg and Badass, because they were the new tag team. They were up and coming. They were getting a lot of hype, a lot of hype, a lot of great stuff going for them, and this was basically a showcase for them. The match itself, well, I'll explain what happened. Henry Godwin is eliminated by Bradshaw by pinfall at 3 minutes 52 seconds. Blackjack Windham is pinned by Phineas Godwin at 5 minutes 14 seconds by pinfall. Mosh is eliminated by Billy Gunn by pinfall at 8 minutes 42 seconds. Phineas is eliminated by Thrasher at 12 minutes 38 by pinfall. Bradshaw is eliminated by Road Dogg at 13 minutes 44 seconds. And I want to point out that Bradshaw's elimination was a little weird. Even though he kicked out at 2, the ref had no choice but to count down to 3 because he was supposed to be eliminated anyway. But Bradshaw kicked out at 2. I think he timed his kick out at the worst time, but they had to act as if he was pinned anyway, even though clearly he wasn't. And Thrasher was pinned by Billy Gunn at 15 minutes 25 seconds. That pinfall, before the pinfall, Billy Gunn, he was legally tagged in. Thrasher thought he had Road Dogg pinned. And what happened was Billy Gunn went for a top rope leg drop. He completely whiffed on it, but Billy Gunn can't go up to the top and do it again. Thrasher had to sell it, and they ended up getting the pin. Road Dogg and Billy Gunn are your survivors of this match. As for a match, it started off okay, but it got real sloppy towards the end, especially the last 2 pinfalls. So I give it 2 out of 5. Well, it got Road Dogg and Jesse James over. And the reason why I say that, because it's not done yet. They'll be coming up here a little bit later. Next match is another 4-on-4 Survivor Series match. The Truth Commission, the Jacko, the Interrogator, Sniper, and Recon face off the Disciples of Apocalypse, Crush, Chains, 8-Ball, and Skull. Now this match, well, there's really no beef between these two other than the fact that they're both in stables and they're just fighting each other. It's just Survivor Series. And here's elimination goes. Chains is eliminated by the Interrogator at 1 minute 18 seconds. The Jackal is eliminated by 8-Ball by pinfall at 2 minutes 50 seconds. Recon is eliminated by Skull at 5 minutes 18 seconds by pinfall. Skull is eliminated by Sniper at 6 minutes 30 seconds by pinfall. 8-Ball is eliminated by Interrogator at 8 minutes 50 seconds at pinfall. Sniper is eliminated by Crush at 9 minutes 46 seconds by pinfall. And Crush is eliminated by the Interrogator at 9 minutes 59 seconds. The Interrogator is your sole survivor. As for a match, woof! Boy, this match was terrible. It was just 8 big, beefy dudes just battling each other, and almost every pinfall was a sidewalk slam. How boring is that? I give this match 1 out of 5. Oh my god, this match was terrible. If you're going to watch Survivor Series 97, just skip this match. This accomplishes nothing. And we have a third 4-on-4 Survivor Series elimination match, and it's a big one. It's Team Canada representing the British Bulldog, Jim the Anvil Neidhart, Doug Furnas, and Phil LaFawn versus Team USA. That's Vader, Goldust, Mark Merrill, and Steve Blackman, along with Sable. I just want to say that it's weird that Team Canada is represented by 3 members, one from Canada. I mean, Bulldog, of course, is from the UK. Jim Neidhart Jim Neidhart and Doug Furnas were born in the US. Phil the Fun, well, he's from Canada. He's a Frenchman, French Canadian, and I don't know what to say. It's weird, but you know, they were loyal to the team through Heart Foundation, and that's what you got. As for Team USA, originally it was going to be the Patriot leading off Team USA. He went out with a triceps injury, and pretty much he was out of WWF after this. And they used his theme song here. The team was led by Vader, Goldust, who had just separated from his wife and his family, and he's going through his thing, which plays a role in the match. Mark Merrow, he went from Wildman Mark Merrow to Marvelous Mark Merrow and his heel persona. He's starting to develop that. And Steve Blackman is a relatively newcomer. Apparently, before this Survivor Series, Team Canada was attacking Vader on an episode of Raw. Steve Blackman jumps over the fan rail and goes to the ring, takes down all members of Team Canada. He's eventually taken away by security, but it turns out in reality Steve Blackman is a pro wrestler. He actually was going to debut in WWF in like the early 90s, but he caught malaria. He was bedridden for a couple of years. He had to basically retrain his body to get where it is today. And there you go. Steve Blackman is counted out at 5 minutes and 16 seconds. Jim Neidhart is pinned by Vader at 6 minutes 53 seconds. Phil LaFon is pinned by Vader at 8 minutes 28 seconds. Mark Merrow is pinned by Doug Furnas at 11 minutes 18 seconds. Goldust, who never does any action in this match, refuses to get in, refuses to help out his country. Vader is pissed off at Goldust. He slaps him in the face and drags him in, which does count as a tag. Goldust just basically bails on his own team at 16 minutes 26 seconds. Doug Furnas is eliminated by Vader by pinfall at 16 minutes 54 seconds. And Bulldog, well, he brings in, as Doug Furnas is being pushed out of the ring, Bulldog picks up the ring bell, hits Vader in the back of the head with the bell, kicks it out of the ring. Bulldog pins Vader at 17 minutes and 5 seconds, being the sole survivor. This match, it was fine. I mean, Vader did a hell of a job. He was the workhorse of this show. As for Doug Furnas and Phil LaFon, it's a real shame that they never got the break in WWF like they should have. I think they deserved their break. It just didn't work out for them. This was kind of like their final match in WWF before they went back to ECW and went back to Japan. For this match, I give it 2.5 out of 5. It was okay. I mean, Goldust, he's starting his heel run. That planted the seeds for him facing Vader in the future. We get our first singles match tonight. It's Kane making his singles debut against Mankind. Now, what led up to this? Well, Kane was causing his destruction everywhere until Undertaker would come face him in the future. Foley was one of these people that were attacked, and he went from Dude Love to Mankind to deal with this monster, because Dude Love can't really deal with Kane. So Mankind, is deranged as he is, can handle Kane, because he's been through a lot of shit. I'll let you know, the entire match is contested under the red spot of Kane. Thank God they only did this for a couple more times before they got rid of it completely, because it kind of is distracting. This match really shows how powerful Kane really is, what powerful the character was. In fact, there were times in this match where Kane is overpowering him. One time, I think he knocks him off the ring apron, and Mankind goes flying through the announce table. Another match where Mankind goes to a second rope on the outside, but then Kane drops him off onto the outside of the mattress. Jesus, looked painful. This match ends when Foley gets a regular DDT instead of his usual double arm DDT. Hits the running elbow off the apron of Kane. Kane pops right up. Mankind stands in the middle of the rope, and Kane slams him off on the floor. Oof. Mick, damn, you were a crash test dummy back then. Mick is crawling back into the ring, but Kane finished him off with a tombstone power driver as Kane defeats Mankind at 9 minutes 29 seconds. I give this match 2.5 out of 5. It kind of shows the brutality, how powerful Kane really is, and how many bumps Mick Foley can take. Jesus. But as for a match, it did what it did. It showed Kane as extremely powerful, how much of a destructive force he really is. Next up, we have our final 4-on-4 Survivor Series elimination match, as Ken Shamrock, Ahmed Johnson, and Legion of Doom, Hawk and Animal, take on the Nation of Domination, Rocky Maivia, Farouk, Kama Mustafa, and D'Lo Brown. Now this match is basically a continuation of Ahmed Johnson with problems with the Nation of Domination. Ken Shamrock's been mixed up, LOD got mixed up into it, so they all got beef with the Nation. This elimination goes as follows. Hawk is eliminated by The Rock at 2 minutes 9 seconds. Farouk is eliminated by Ahmed Johnson at 4 minutes 53 seconds. And this next elimination is a bit controversial, and it kind of eliminates something that has been going on for Survivor Series. Ahmed Johnson is eliminated by The Rock by pinfall at 6 minutes 9 seconds. Even though after Farouk was eliminated, he stayed in the ring. Ahmed's about to put the pro over plunge on The Rock. He trips up Ahmed, holds his feet down. Rock covers him, and even though the second referee is out there trying to stop Farouk from doing this, Ahmed's still eliminated. I never understood what's the point of having a second referee on the outside if they can't do anything? It's such a pain in the ass to think about that. But anyway, Johnson's eliminated. Kama Mustafa is eliminated by Animal at 10 minutes 44 seconds. Animal is eliminated by countout by 14 minutes and 12 seconds due to the New Age Outlaws coming out, distracting distracting Animal. They throw white powder in his face. It blinds him, causing him to be counted out. He has to go to the back to deal with the Outlaws. D'Lo Brown is eliminated by Ken Shamrock by submission, ankle lock submission, 16 minutes 54 seconds. The Rock is eliminated by Ken Shamrock by submission at 20 minutes 28 seconds. Ken Shamrock is your sole survivor. Out of all 4 Survivor Series matches, this is the best one. The match was kind of in the middle. It didn't blow. It's not going to blow anyone away, but it's not going to suck either. It's just in the middle. I give it 3 out of 5. It's the best match of the night. It's the best Survivor Series match of the night. Still not amazing, but it's there. This actually shows how Ken Shamrock looks like a complete badass, and it pretty much highlighted him in a big spot in the future. We have our second title match is between Stone Cold Steve Austin facing Owen Hart for the WWF Intercontinental Championship. Now, how do we get here for the Intercontinental Championship? Well, it all started at Canadian Stampede. Doing a 10-man tag, Owen got the pinfall on Stone Cold Steve Austin. And Austin and Owen has been battling ever since. In fact, their highly anticipated Intercontinental title match at SummerSlam 97 was a great match. That's what really set things off. That match was really great, and right until Owen did that one move, it legitimately injured Austin. Austin did pin Owen Hart to become the Intercontinental Champion, but he had to give it up the next night due to his bruised spine. Austin was then protected. He couldn't wrestle, so he did promos. He would talk. He would appear. He couldn't wrestle yet because he wasn't cleared to wrestle. Owen Hart had to find a way to get the Intercontinental title back. He ended up winning it in a tournament at Bad Blood, thanks to the help of Austin, because Austin, in his mind, he says, I'm going to be the one that beats Owen for the Intercontinental Championship. And before this match, I'd like to say that both Austin and Owen were not ready to wrestle. I mean, Austin, he wasn't quite 100% to be cleared to wrestle a full match. And Owen, he was coming off concussion for at least a couple weeks, so he hasn't wrestled in a while. The intro is one of 3 entrances for Austin as the broken glass gets through, but they use some kind of special glass and only half of it broke. In fact, when Austin comes out as an interview, he kind of pushes and kind of nudges the one part of the broken glass to get through. Austin gets a real great response despite being in Canada, so it shows that his star is on the rise. For Owen, he gets a great ovation too, because he's one of Canada's Canada's homegrown. As for this match was very short. It could have been long. It should have been long. I wish it was longer, but due to both participants not being healthy enough to wrestle, Neidhart sneaks in the ring. Austin hits her with a stunner. Owen is able to jump Austin, come back with punches, and he even teased a pile driver. And that Canadian crowd was really excited to see it. They wanted to see Owen finish off Austin for good. Austin counters that with a backdrop. This leads to the outside. Owen wants to choke out Austin with the cable. He's telling the ref to disqualify him so he can take the cheap way out. They get back into the ring. Hart beats on Austin with more punches. Austin turns around with stomping a mud hole, gets a mixed reaction. Austin whips Owen into some kind of slam. Owen lands on his feet. Austin flips him off, stuns Owen for the pinfall. 1, 2, 3, and at 4 minutes 4 seconds, Austin is new Intercontinental Champion. Well, as a match, it's 1 out of 5. It wasn't a long match, but there was a lot of stuff going in there. But Austin's star was still shining, and that's a good thing. Austin would regain the Intercontinental Champion. He's a 2-time Intercontinental Champion now, and he's on the bigger and better thing. So before I talk about the main events, I said earlier about Bret Hart getting that 20-year contract. Then Vince McMahon, he took it back. He said, well, I can't honor this contract. I'm sorry. I can't afford it. Go to WCW. Hart really went the WCW route. Of course, he and Michaels had a falling out, and Hart's like, fuck this guy. I don't want to drop the title to him. So, and I'm going to explain the match. And I'll get to that later, but right now I'm going to explain the match. After a great video package featuring the Hart-Michaels feud, both people get the backstage entrance. Shawn Michaels comes out with Triple H, Chyna. They get into the ring. Of course, the fans hate Michaels because of who he is. Hart gets the entrance as well, and he gets a great ovation. JR says it took 18 months to get Hart vs. Michaels in a rematch, and the smart money says you will never ever see it again. Boy, was he right. Now for the match. The WWF World Heavyweight Title match as Bret Hart defends against Shawn Michaels. This match doesn't start off as a match. They actually, before the bell rings, they just brawl. These guys brawl all over the announce table. The announce table through the entrance hall. Vince McMahon, who's barely seen all day, he had an interview earlier stating that he was asked by Michael Cole who would win this match, and said, I don't know. You have Vince trying to get Bret and Shawn trying to go back into the ring. He's like, get back in the ring, get back in the ring. Very, very uncharacteristic for him doing that. Why? Well, you'll probably find out. Hart tosses Michaels in. After 7 minutes of brawling, the bell officially starts. And when this match starts, it's actually a really great match. It's a technical match. These two never had a problem wrestling each other. It's just that they just didn't like each other personally. And that's a real shame because talking about this match is really, it's sort of depressing. It's sort of exciting, but man, here comes the end of the match. Russian leg sweep by Hart. The suplex only gets him 2. Backbreaker for Hart. Hart goes up to hit Michaels with a fist. Michaels pulls Hebner in front of the blow, and you know what's gonna happen. Michael rakes Bret Hart's eyes. Hebner somehow gets up faster. Michaels puts Hart into the sharpshooter. As Hart's trying to break the sharpshooter, Hebner asks Bret to give it up. And Hebner says he does. He asks the timekeeper to ring the bell. And Shawn Michaels becomes new WWF World Champion in 12 minutes 19 seconds. And yeah, as a match, I give it 4 out of 5. It's actually the best match of the night, and the ending, oh boy. Talking about his ending is crazy. We wouldn't see it on the broadcast, but Vince McMahon told the timekeeper to ring the fucking bell many times. The crowd was in shock that that Vince McMahon screwed over Bret Hart. That he did this to Bret. I mean, you can't blame anyone. Anyone's a fan of Bret Hart to see what happened. Everyone's in shock. And JR's even in shock. He even says, what happened? He's like, what the hell happened? King, who's normally a talkative person, doesn't say anything. He's in shock too. He doesn't say anything. Bret realizes what happened, spits right in Vince's face. Shawn, and under Vince's orders, he was told to act surprised, to act angry, and did a hell of a job. He's done it before. JR goes, talk about controversy. This crowd is livid. Yeah, it is. Yeah, this crowd is livid. People were pissed or throwing stuff. And the show just ends so like that. It just goes phase to black. Here's what happened you didn't see on the live broadcast. Bret is confronted by his brother Owen, the Jim Neidhart, Dave Boy Smith, British Bulldog. Bret Hart is upset. He's in disbelief. Everyone is pissed off. Because the original plan was Bret Hart was going to have Owen, David Boy, and Jim Hart come out, cause a DQ. Bret Hart was going to forfeit the title the next night on Raw and say he's going to WCW. That would have been bad because that would have been bad for business. He wanted to throw the title in the trash because that's horrible. And actually ended with Bret Hart signaling WCW, air quoting it. And Bret Hart was pissed off. He was destroying monitors. He was pissed off at anything. He thanked the fans. Then he left. Everyone in the backstage. This is on Wrestling with Shadows, by the way. Wrestling with Shadows shows what happened. Bret was furious. He asked Shawn, "Did you know anything about it?" Shawn is like, "No, didn't know anything about it. Swear to God, my hands full. My hands clean of this one." Bret goes over to Vince McMahon's office, and Vince is like, "Hey, you know, Bret, you didn't give me a choice. I had to do what I had to do. But if you want to hit me, go ahead and hit me." And Bret slugged him. Gave him a shiner on his left eye. There's also, after that deck, Vince claimed that Jerry Briscoe stepped on his foot, broke his ankle, and Bret nailed him in the temple. But, there's a lot of folks that'll kiss Vince's ass, saying he took a dive, but that black guy said otherwise. Doing Wrestling with Shadows, Triple H was actually lying to Bret Hart's wife, saying he knew nothing about the Montreal screw job, but Bret's wife isn't falling for it. He said, "Oh, this bullshit, y'all gonna laugh about this shit later." I don't think they did that. I just think that they felt Bret kind of put him in a bad situation, like, well, we gotta get the belt off him somehow, so he had to take it off him. The reason why Vince McMahon did this to Bret Hart, because he thought Hart was going to take the WWF title to WCW. I don't think Bret would have done that, honestly. He didn't want to leave. He was too loyal to WWF. But the relationship between Hart and Michaels was so bad to the point that one of them had to go. Hart was 40 years old. Can you believe that? He was 40, but he didn't, the way he wrestled, you wouldn't think that. Michaels was in his early 30s, and he was also influential in the booking of shows. That's true. Actually, Bret being really stubborn about losing in Canada, losing to Shawn, and honestly, there could have been ways to avoid this. Vince, he knew that if he couldn't afford a 20-year contract, he should have taken the belt off of Bret early, way before Survivor Series, and they could have done something with there. Shawn Michaels was being a dick. He was going through his troubles before he found God, but back then, oh my God, he was such a pain in the ass. And Bret, he should have just either done business and gone to WCW. He could have came out kind of like a hero to Canada, or basically he said, "You know what? I'm not doing business with Shawn. Find another guy for me to do, because I'm not fucking doing this." So the show all around, it's not a perfect show, but all you talk about is the main event. And my final grade on it would be 3 out of 5. No one really talks about anybody else but the main event, the Montreal Screwjob, and it affected everyone. My best match for this, obviously, is the main event, Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels. Despite the finish, it's actually a really good match. These two always worked well together. It's just that professionally, they could have been the best of friends. But now they are, because they finally buried the hatchet, long time overdue, and that's pretty much it. The worst match is that Truth Commission versus DOA. Do not bother with this match. This match is horrible. Anyway, that's my review on Survivor Series 1997. And what's on my mind in the future? Well, I'm gonna take a little break from wrestling, and I'm gonna do because we got Thanksgiving coming up, and I'm gonna do a video of a network that I grew up with and I still love today, even though it kind of went corporate, Nickelodeon. And I'm gonna do a Nickelodeon Thanksgiving special that is actually very important in the history of Nickelodeon. Why? I'll tell you that in the next video. Until then, thank you and good night.